There are places in the world where time forgets to move. Old railway stations, silent corners of cities, and even small rural platforms where the world keeps spinning, but one heart stays still. This story begins at one such place, a forgotten station nestled on the edge of a town no longer on most maps. And there, for 25 years, sat an old man. Not to beg, not to sell, not to preach, but to wait. His name was Walter Grange. Walter was once a brilliant clockmaker, renowned across the city for his delicate hands and precise craftsmanship. He had a small shop tucked beside the station where he spent his days repairing time, fixing the broken ticks of clocks that had forgotten how to live. But it wasn't clocks that broke Walter. It was the loss of his son, Edward. 25 years ago, Edward, just 17, had boarded a train headed for the military academy. He had argued with Walter the night before, something small, foolish, something about futures and expectations. Edward wanted to write music. Walter wanted him to be secure. That morning, Edward left with bitterness in his eyes. He didn't say goodbye, and he never came back. People assumed he had died. The war came and went, names were printed, ceremonies were held, and silence fell on those whose children never returned. But Walter didn't believe it, not because he had evidence, but because he felt something deeper, what he called the pulse, a quiet knowing in the chest that someone you love is still breathing somewhere under the same sky. So he waited. Not at home, not in the shop, but at the station. Every day he dressed in his best coat, he combed his gray hair, he packed the small lunch, and he sat on the same bench, third from the end, under the crooked lamppost. For 25 years. People laughed, they mocked. Children grew up hearing tales of the madman of Platform 3. Even the town began reshaping without him. The shop was sold, the plaque of his name faded. His world became a bench, a pocket watch, and the memory. But he didn't stop. Because Walter understood something most of us forget, that sometimes belief is the only bridge between two separated hearts. Every train that passed, he scanned each face. Every time the conductor shouted, he stood up with hope. And every time it wasn't Edward, he nodded quietly to himself and sat back down. He didn't count the days, he counted chances. Then one morning, the station felt different. It was raining lightly, just like it had the day Edward left. The breeze carried something old, something familiar. And then a train pulled in, late, empty. Just a single man stepped off. He wore a long coat, carried a suitcase worn with time, his hair grayed, his back slightly stooped. He looked up, and his eyes locked with Walter's. There was a silence, one that spoke louder than any reunion. Walter didn't run. He simply stood. Edward didn't speak. He simply walked. And they met in the middle of the platform where time finally gave up and let two broken souls embrace. No words, just the kind of hug that rewrites history. Later, Edward would explain that he had lost everything, his battalion, his memory, even his name for a time. He had wandered, broken through shelters and cities, never sure of who he was, until one day in a southern hospital, an old nurse showed him a clock that she had fixed years ago in a shop next to a station. And something inside clicked. He remembered the scent of oil, the ticking of gears, the sound of his father winding up the world. And he knew he had to go back. Walter never opened his shop again. Instead, he and Edward bought a small piece of land beside the railway. They built a little home, and each day they would drink tea under the crooked lamppost on Platform 3. Not to wait anymore, but to live. Moral of the story? Faith, no matter how long or how lonely, is never truly wasted. When we wait with love, not for outcomes, but for healing, we become timeless. Like Walter, we learn that love never leaves. It waits, watches, and eventually, it comes home.